And what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? I'm Sean Thomas. Oh, full name today, using full name.
She's
And
government
this
name
is
out here. It's a shaft.
no full name, just sticking with
Nah,
the
bro,
Madonna, huh?
I ain't about the government life.
Ah, okay. How you know that's my government? That might be my alias.
I mean, we can expose your full government name if you like.
No. You can't do that.
Let's get all Nigerian up in this.
Welcome back to Keeping Up with Nothing, the conversation that goes everywhere and nowhere all at the same time. You can't believe I just came up with that, bro. Fire.
On the spot. I mean, that was kind of the feedback that we got too from the last one. It's like,
yeah,
you made a point, but we don't know what the point you made, and we don't know what the answer was to the point. It's like, yeah, welcome to our conversations.
Well, the title was "We Ain't Got the Answers."
No, we ain't ever got the
because
answers.
we ain't got the answers. Who's
well,
really got the answers?
We barely got the questions that are the answers. The questions just sort of come out of nowhere, and they don't even make sense themselves.
That reminds me, because I actually had one or two, maybe three conversations about your the male toy conversation.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I got decent insight. I mean, now that I'm on the spot, none of it's coming to mind. But it was a situation where not everyone, but someone, I'm not going to shout it out because I'm not no snitch, but they were saying to me, they were saying like, well, it's kind of the case like that because women were suppressed for so long. And I was like, I never really thought about it that way because everything is always, especially in this age, seems to be an overcorrection a lot of the time.
I hear that.
And because with men, I think for us, it's just been like at one level. We're not really suppressed, but then at the same time, we're not fully encouraged.
So there's different things because we are suppressed on things that are different that women aren't suppressed on. On the whole part, though, women are generally more suppressed than us. It is a patriarchy, I'll give them that. And we do have privileges that women aren't afforded. Like some of them, we'll get into the deep section where, we can talk about them there. But like, I guess this is kind of deep, but like, for example, men being in touch with their feelings, they're not allowed to feel. Men aren't allowed to feel. We're supposed to just be stoic.
We're not allowed to.
We're just,
and what's funny is we're told to feel, and then the moment we feel, it's like, you're always feeling.
So this is an interesting topic going, right? So let's say, for example, as men we are told, it's a new age, you're supposed to feel. Who'd you go talk to, because half the times you go talk to your boys and they're gonna take the piss out of it, which is fine. That is kind of like the normal culture.
You kind of get used
to it.
You're
feeling depressed? Oh, is it? Yeah. Let's make this more depression. Depression. But then
it's kind of a shame that we laugh at that, but we're kind of laughing in pain, guys. We're laughing in pain.
We're laughing in pain. And then, all right, cool. Let's say you do go talk to women, and then you get judged like, what? You're meant to be a man. You're not being a man right now. And it's like, okay. I didn't realize what compromise. I ain't know the word, bro.
Have you ever had that conversation with a girl and she's actually like turned to you and said, "Hey, like, what are you doing?"
You know what? Shockingly, the females I've got in my life are really good. I say shockingly because I've always hated the stereotype of like, women, and I hate to use this word, women can be bitches. Yeah. Like,
you didn't? Oh no, you didn't.
I hate the word. Like, as in, so when women are talking to women, and this is what I've heard from a lot of the girls that I talk to anyway, that they prefer being friends with dudes over friends with women because women end up being quite bitchy. Women being very judgy when they're talking to them and whatnot, whereas dudes tend to not be judgy at all. Now, I'm pretty sure 90% of the time that's because the dude's not looking to judge, a dude's looking to get in their pants.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, because sometimes we meet dudes who are kind of like I don't want to use the word, but bitchy.
Yeah, no. There are a ton of brothers that are bitch, and women kind of think men don't do it, but men talk the most, fam.
Yeah. But because we're gonna segue and we're gonna go all the way down that road, but we'll go down that road after. But you said you have like a good environment of girls who you feel emotionally supported around.
Yeah, correct. I do.
That's pretty good because I've never really had someone directly be like, "Hey, why are you feeling emotions?" Because I'm not really emotional. However, there's been times where if I've let emotions go, I've noticed the shift. I've noticed the change.
So you notice that there's a negative reaction to you being emotional.
Yeah, and it's subtle, you know, and I don't think that's their fault. I don't think anyone's like, oh, he's feeling emotions and now he just is, you know, a wimp or whatever. It's just a
Yeah.
case of, you know, we grew up with certain standards, unfortunately, and human characteristics are hard to change. If you're
No.
used to people being a certain way and then the moment they're not that way, you know, it's your conscious is telling you like it's okay, but your subconscious is used to a certain kind of, I don't know.
Is that because you've portrayed yourself as a certain way to these women most of the time, right? So you know you're happy-go-lucky, nothing bothers you much, like blah blah blah. You're normally the rock in people's lives that they come to
Yeah,
you
yeah,
for stuff.
maybe,
So is it the fact
maybe.
that now that you're willing to like, hold up, how do we deal with the rock that's in our lives now needing a rock themselves?
Yeah, maybe that is the case. So, and
And
that's the thing is that that wouldn't then be marked down to genders, would it? That would be more so realistically the character themselves, the
well,
specific personality.
you say that, but like part of the genderness person, and I hate gender stereotypes like with a fucking passion. I hate gender stereotypes. Yeah,
One
I
hundred
hate it.
percent.
Like I just can't stand the thing of men should be a certain way and women should be a certain way. And like
Mhm.
I've got a girl mate. I've got a girl mate, and she's just like, right, a dude has to come pick me up on the first date. Like just has to. Now,
How
I
does she feel
argue
about
with.
gender roles on the other side?
Say that again.
How does he feel about gender roles on the other side?
How does she? No, she's perfectly fine with the jet. Like she'd be okay to be. I'm pretty sure she'd be okay to be a stay-at-home mum if the dad's earning enough peas. She'd be okay to be like like the female provider in that sense, as in home
Mhm.
provider.
Mhm.
So I kind of like she prefers this more traditional
She likes the classic
stance on it,
gender roles, right?
which is funny because she's hella independent, like crazy independent, right? And does her own thing all the time. But she would be willing to go with the gender stereotypes, yeah.
But
And
then
I'm
here's
just
the
like,
thing, then technically, what's wrong with that? If she's just willing, if that's the life she wants to live in terms of, I see it as men are this and women are that, and you know, while I'm by myself, I can be independent, but if I have a boyfriend, he has to do these kind of things, and in return, I'll do those kind of
oh,
things.
so
Then
so
realistically, what's wrong with that?
the other side to that is, bro, what if I want to be taken care of, bro, as a dude?
Then
I'm not
she's not
gonna
the
lie.
person for you. That's just
Oh,
it.
100,
That's just the end of it, you know.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it would be nice to be the person who's per se the stay-at-home dad, you know, and allowed to express artistic freedoms in the household.
Yeah.
But I mean, but that's not my nature though.
You
Like
say
I'm saying,
that,
it's an
but the
ideal
moment
that would
the
be
moment kids get involved, oh my goodness.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that job, I doubt it's gonna be easy after that, bro.
But like my whole point was she was like adamant, like, yo, there's some guy that has to just that person has to pick me up on the first date. And I'm like, but why can't you be compromised and saying, all right, cool, you know what? We'll meet halfway, or we both get to the destination ourselves and whatever and cool. And all right, maybe when it comes to payment of like the first date, cool, maybe the guy gets it first time, you can get it second time. And her mind was like, no, why would I get it until about the fourth or fifth time? And I was like, but that sounds like you just want a free meal, truthfully. Like, and she was like, no, it's about him showing his chivalry and how much I'm worth. And I was like, surely it's
So
self
what
worth
about
though.
how much is he worth though?
But this is exactly my point. The worst part is, right, so we've had this conversation going on for a hot minute, and I'm saying how she's being real backwards in this, and she's believing she's being traditional. She thinks the guy should show the woman courtship, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, it should work two ways, and we're disagreeing with this. And she goes, well, what would you do? And as per usual, my hypocriticalness comes out. Bro, I could never let a woman pay.
Same man, it's because we were born in just a weird line in the generation where we're kind of born where things were changing in terms of equality, as they should. And then
Yeah, no,
before that,
100%
there
they should.
wasn't as much equality. It was the gender roles. It was specifically a man does this, a woman does that. And
Which,
we're
you know
caught
what?
in a generation right in between.
Yeah, we are. We are caught
So-
in between. And then you know what? I get it from beforehand. And the reason why I say I get it is because women weren't encouraged to go find their own work, to go be their own people, to go live their own life. So then when it came to finding a partner, it should be equal. Women were kind of forced by parents or by society or whatever to, or not everyone, but on the whole part, to say, look, there will be someone who will provide for you, and you will find that person. Yeah, or have to test it if they are going to provide for you. So when they don't have the capacity financially to go out and be on a date themselves, then of course the dude's going to have to pick up that bill because that's what they've been taught.
Yeah.
So I get it from back in the day when people were like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So that's what we do, because at the end of the day, first date guaranteed, because more than likely 99.999% of the time I'm the one who asked. And if I'm going to ask you on a date, like, I'm the one who decided we're going to go here and I wanted you to come here with me. So it makes sense. Like,
so now hold up. Now what happens, if you've been you're going on this first date, you met this amazing person, you feel like you're getting along massively, you match with them, whatever, and they suggest where to go.
If they suggest where to go, no, that's still okay.
Are you still expected to foot the bill?
That's still okay with me, unless it's absolutely bonkers. I mean, like, obviously we're Londoners, going to the London Shard and stuff like that on our first date. It's like, to me, I don't know you like that. I just don't know you like that.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Okay.
Like, what are you doing?
So put it this way. Let's say you don't know the person for too long. You've only been speaking for maybe a month or whatever, right? Or online.
That's my point. I don't know you like that. How are you going to be telling me, like, we're going to go...
that you've never felt
Let's
before.
go Dubai.
You've felt a connection you've never felt before with this person, despite never meeting them.
Okay.
At that point, do you want to go all out?
Do you still put
the logical brain and go, but I don't really know you, despite the fact that you know your feelings are like overtaken?
This is gonna make me sound like a cheapskate. You know me, bro. Like, realistically, I prefer, especially if it's someone I have a connection with, I prefer let's do something that we are gonna both remember. If that means I have to spend money, then cool.
Okay.
Like, and when I say spend money, I mean spend a significant amount of money. Then that's cool. But I want something that we can both remember. Say we're talking about something and she's really into, like, I don't know, say she's into some Viking stuff. And I'm just throwing it out random, right? She's into some Viking stuff. I'm going to try and find one of those places where you can throw axes and stuff. That's going to be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, something that we remember. But to just be like, you know what? I really like this girl, so I'm just going to break the bank. No, because I can't keep that up.
No, yeah, that's true. It's impossible to keep up. If that's your first impressions from her side,
right?
Like, this is what this guy's levels are at. Like, wow, she's overtaken by it. Like, this is nuts. In about 3 months, when you're sitting on your overdraft heavy,
heavy, and she's looking at me like, why don't we go out anymore?
Why don't we do the same things we used to do?
And to be fairly honest, she's in her right to say that, because that was the things that we used to do.
And I say this to Mandem all the time, bro. I say, Mandem feel like dating is a sprint. Yeah, and these man, like, it will be stuff like first month anniversary or some bullshit like that, or first, I don't know, like 3 months something, and they're going and they're buying like mad jewelry or this, that, and the other, blah blah blah. And I get it, maybe you can afford it, whatever, but it's like, bro, this is actually if you're thinking on a serious tip, like, this is a long-term relationship for you, what are you doing the next time and the next time and the next time? Unless you are managing to fulfill it, then cool. But there'll come to a point where you're like, I've done so much and I don't feel like I'm getting the same level back. Despite there might be financial differences or whatever, but sometimes that is internal thing of like, I feel like I've done, the world here, and I feel like I'm only getting a few grains of dirt back, even if that might be the world to them, giving you that, because you think your level should be so X, Y, and Z, and then you run out of steam, and then obviously naturally they turn around and be like, it's been mad different for the last few months compared to the first few months, because you were doing X, Y, and Z, and you stopped doing X, Y, and Z, and what's going on? And they thought that while you were sprinting, they're thinking, that's your jogging pace, that's your, like, casually walking the 100 meters race, and these times you're trying to Usain Bolt out here, and they think your Usain Bolt is walking pace.
Yeah.
And now when you slow down to take a breath.
Yeah, because you set a false friggin' standard, and that's the problem. Is if you're setting this false standard, like, if you are just gonna be you and do the things that you usually would do, if she likes that person, then you guys are good.
100.
That's it. It's that simple. Because realistically, to go hard, you're gonna have to go home. That was cheesy.
That was.
I can't believe I just said that on a podcast. But still, like, With most things in life, especially long-term things like dating, if you sprint, like money you make fast is money you spend fast, you know.
100.
So anytime you sprint at anything, you're just gonna like quick gains. You're gonna lose that fast,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, like them yo-yo diets, man.
Fast. Because here's the thing: is she probably did like you as the person you were, and now
Hence
you've
why
done
she
all
went
of
on
this.
dates with you in the first place. Like
Yeah.
before you got to the date part, she was willing to go on there because you displayed some of your personality.
Mm-hmm. And
And
now
then
to
you
like
thought-
figure out who you are, and now you just started balling out. And I'm not saying everyone's materialistic. If everything is good and you're spending crazy money at the start, and then you slowly stop spending money, it's like sometimes some people see it as that's your way of giving affection.
Yeah.
And the problem with it is the moment you can't keep spending like that, it doesn't translate well in terms of, oh, but the way he gives affection is by splashing out. Why isn't he doing that anymore? And you know, a lot of us are too proud to just be like, hey, I ain't got the money for that now. So you'll be saying everything
that's when man
except
be
that.
doing stuff to get peas.
Say that again.
That's when man them be doing stuff to get peas. Ain't
Yeah.
nothing more motivating. Ain't nothing more motivating than, and I'm gonna crassly put this, than pussy.
Honestly speaking, man.
Like there's that J. Cole song, that lyric here that I never really forget. And I'm gonna butcher it right now, but that
Mess it
proud
up.
feeling we get when that pussy is ours, like it's there's a thing within us that makes us feel so good as men,
Yeah.
knowing that we've managed to, and I don't mean the term pussy as in just the vagina, obviously. I mean like the whole feminine lady entirely, like, but as in to know that someone is ours, we feel damn proud, and then we feel like we have to go above and beyond. Maybe due to insecurities, maybe due to feeling that we don't feel we deserve something that good.
That's it. That's the reason.
And
Because you feel like you don't deserve it otherwise, and it's like, okay, well, I have to show I can do something. It's not
And
the
that's
way you
sad,
go,
bro.
man. Yeah, but it's the world.
But the
we
thing
live
is,
in.
throughout life, when have men ever been given value beyond their earnings?
I think since the start of time, to be honest, I think even now still, because there's so many women out there who aren't materialistic at all. Like, of course, it's nice if you're not, homeless, unfortunately, because I can't see homeless being very attractive.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't be with someone I can't even be with a woman that don't have ambition and don't want to own job and don't want to, as much as I'm saying it's lovely to be the stay-at-home dad, I couldn't ever be with a woman that wanted to be, per se, a stay-at-home, woman. I couldn't, for me, it's ambition. And I understand there's a part of, if you want to have children, and the best way to nurture children is to have as much time with the parents as possible, and so we take turns on that stuff completely.
Mm-hmm.
But from day one, I met a couple of people who were like, we do not want to provide, we do not want to have a job, we want the guy to take care of everything, we'll make sure we look pretty, that's our way. The fact that we get ready and look pretty for the guy is our way of saying, our payment to the guy, because we spend on makeup or we spend on getting ourselves ready and blah. And I was shocked that this was still a thing.
Yeah, but see, because that's where there's a fine line, because in the same way that there's materialistic women, there's women who can seem like they're materialistic, but it's actually the ambition that they like in a man. So it's actually the drive, the wanting something from life, And in what you just said, there's still ambition with women who want to stay at home, because there's a big difference between okay, I'm just gonna look pretty for my man, and I am gonna actually play my part in this relationship, and when your flowers need watering, I'm gonna water your flowers, and when I need watering, you water my flowers, and so on and so forth, so we can go and win at life.
100. And this is one thing I think, and this is what a lot of people don't get. Yeah, now I've been through a situation where my parents divorced, and I've seen many divorces happen throughout my life with friends, family, whatever, right? And a lot of times, a lot of people get angry at the fact that the man has to give away however much percentage to the woman. But the other side of that is, without that woman, and yeah, cool, maybe she didn't have a job, maybe she was working at home, maybe she was a housewife, maybe she was taking care of the kids, without being able to have someone there to take care of the kids, to make sure the home is ready, to know that none of those stresses as a dude have to come on the guy while he's providing is basically allowing him to earn. And without that woman there being able to take the burden of the children, of the home, of maybe the back end of the business, blah, 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 without taking that, the guy's not in the situation where he can propel and earn as much as he would like to earn. So when it does come to these divorces, I actually concur when there is a male provider and there isn't a female provider, for the female to be able to get actual like fair compensation for that, because the male would not be in the situation he is without that woman there.
And the only points where I would disagree, and I'm sure you would too, is when it's done late in the game. If I've already made all this money and now you've just come on board for a year or two and now you're just like, no, I want half, it's a bit wild. That's wild to me. That's super wild.
I ain't ever seen that situation in real life, but man, that's gotta hurt. Like, I know one dude, is at my lounge, and my man's basically ready to sign up. Like, he's got a lot of properties under his belt, and
bro, you might accidentally be snitching here, you know.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you know, it is what it is. And
all right, let's go.
Any single ladies, hit him up. Nah, he's already taken. But like, we joke, like, my man would you know, make his wife pay rent. And I think that's like the extreme other side, where the brother goes, I've already made my life. You're stepping into it.
Extreme. Because I was gonna say, yeah, because there's so, like, you know, the classic line, you weren't shooting with me in the gym, like, but then exactly like you said, there are women that are shooting with them in the gym. And what I mean is, if you're ambitiously, you know, working towards a relationship and making the relationship work, and unfortunately, whatever happened, it didn't work out, and now it's got to come to an end, take half.
Nah, straight
worked
up
on this. Take half, because do you know what? Even the Bezos dude, like, in his situation where he gave her half, I was like, oh, she must have been down.
Yeah, but you know how much more he's made since then. Jesus, I know. Pandemic.
I know, but even without that, the fact that he was willing to give her half, and the way, like, it was just like, all right, cool, take this, is like, okay. Yeah,
the situation is different. And the reason I say that is because we're not splitting 10 grand halfways where we're barely surviving, bro. We're splitting hundreds of billions where, I'm not gonna lie, even a percentage of that would set a man for life.
But to be honest, for me, bro, honestly, if anything, all right, billions, it's easier to do, in my opinion, because what am I gonna do with all these billions? Like, take half, because I don't know, like, when there's a good woman by your side, you feel the difference.
100% you do.
You feel the difference.
100% you do. You got a woman that's pushing you to be the best you can be, and pushing things out of you that you that you couldn't imagine before, you know, and that's a different level.
And it's worth half, level. You know, it's worth half.
And for me, I'll be in a situation where, for example, if I was married, I had kids and whatnot, and yeah, let's say the marriage doesn't turn out to be as plentiful as I want it to, and we're both looking to leave because situations happen, people fall out of love or whatever. Let's hope it's not a negative situation in terms of one person cheating on each other, but it's one of those ones where we know we're not compatible anymore. I mean, hell, Bill Gates fucking, after how many years, and you know, he wasn't messing around. He might have been trying to mess around with AIDS and shit, but you know, and vaccines and whatnot, but he wasn't messing around on her. But regardless, like, if it comes to that point where we're having an amicable breakup, take what you need and go.
Allegedly,
like,
sorry,
I don't want you to suffer throughout this, and I don't want to suffer throughout this. We should just be like, yeah, split it and halas.
But then, because that's enough. That then goes into another point. So, all right, not only if I made the money and then you, that's when you jumped into on the ship, you know, not just that point, but then there's also the point of, like you said, because I personally wouldn't want to be with anyone who's not ambitious either. And my ambition, it doesn't matter to me if you want to go out there and have a career or if you want to be at home with the kids. Ambition is ambition for me. And
what if her ambition is to be number one on OnlyFans?
No, hold on a second now, because then that's different, because that's not someone I would want to be with. We might talk about that in a second. But if we're making a good amount of money and we've saved up a good amount of money and yada yada yada, maybe I'm breadwinner, I'm making a good amount of money, and she's looking after the house, and we end up hiring like 6 different nannies, and one cleaner for the house and one this and one that, then that's when half gets a bit more tricky.
Yeah, no, but the fact
Because
that you're
you're
in such a
outsourcing
privileged situation to have those outsourced things means you're probably in a position where you can afford to split.
But that's crazy. So your job, your side of it, because realistically, personally, I wouldn't want my children raised by loads of different nannies. Maybe one nanny
Yeah.
with
Yeah, as in
hands on with the
if you
mum,
two as a
like
couple are
as
doing
for
so
an extra
well that
piece
you
of
can't
support.
be there 24/7.
Say that again.
I'm saying if you two doing so well as a couple in terms of financials and business and whatnot that you can't be there 24/7 for your child, you want the best care for that child possible.
Oh no, 100%. If we're both chasing careers, then let's get all the nannies we have to get. If we're both chasing careers, I'm saying if I am breadwinner, I'm making money for the household, and you've decided to stay at home with the kids to help raise the kids, but then we got all these different nannies, not just one, because raising kids is hard. So one,
Extreme.
I understand, but to have like two or three, and then a cleaner and this and that. Of course, this is a very special circumstance.
I must say,
but still,
this is definitely first world problems out here.
no, because I think about like the type of person who will be like, okay, and I'm not talking about your friends. I don't know your friends. I'm saying like, I'm just gonna look pretty for my man, and like,
I promise you that person
she's
was
on a
a friend.
boat somewhere.
The minute I heard that, it was khalas.
she's on a boat somewhere, like looking all pretty and stuff, and taking pictures for Instagram, while there's two nannies like struggling with my kids.
Yeah, nah.
While I'm paying for the whole shebang. That's my point.
I personally couldn't imagine you with someone who could be like that. But here's the thing, people change, bro. And if at a point someone is a stay-at-home mom and they do get per se more bored and they do start exploring other avenues like social media and whatnot, and they actually start garnering a following on that, how would that like play into that? Because it started off with a situation where, yeah, like, you know, your partner wanted, and it's the same with you. Like, imagine it's a situation where you're making all these P's or whatever, you're doing great, and at one point you decide, no, I'm retiring early, and you've done your ambition part, and let's say by 40 you've done retired because you made your P's. That person will start looking at you different, like, yo, what happened?
Keeping Up With Nothing was filmed in front of a live studio audience. No, you know I'm playing. But seriously, we have a Instagram at Keeping Up With Nothing Pod. There we will be asking for some questions, subjects, anything, because we talk about anything and everything with, I can't remember what I said at the start of this episode. Anywho, shoot your messages through and let's get back to the show.
On the other hand, so there's the one scenario where, let's say you want to be with someone, they want to be a stay-at-home mom, you were good with that, whatever, and then they find they've got time to spend, they start spending on social media, this and the other, they become real good at it, whatever, blah blah blah, and their priorities kind of shift because now they've got an ambition of their own that they didn't have beforehand, as in a sense of something that they would consider a career and whatnot, because you can make real good money from this stuff. And like, how would that affect you, knowing that you went into a situation like that? Obviously, people evolve and people change, and they've got every right to do that. Could you be able to handle that after?
Them becoming like a influencer, you mean?
Like, not even just like a, you know, like I'm talking about hundreds, thousands of followers and whatnot, and blah blah blah.
It depends on what kind of influencer. Like, do we have kids? Are the kids involved in influencing? Is she like a influencer?
Would that be a strict no for you? Kids being involved
in the influencing?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a deep question.
Because you've got some really good influence out there, right? So there was that one guy, last year, I think through lockdown, he might have become something where he was a guy who was giving dad tips per se. So he never grew up with a father, and he never knew how to do sort of household stuff around the yard, you know, like paint stuff and fix stuff when it breaks and blah blah blah. So he was literally going on YouTube and creating these videos for people who haven't been taught by their father to say, look, when this goes wrong, you can do this to fix it. When this goes wrong, you can do this is how you'd fix this, blah blah blah. And he was just so that's like, and obviously he would have his kids there and whatnot. I'm pretty sure he had his kids there to show, like, yeah, this is how I would teach him as well, blah blah blah. And for me, that's like the most amazing kind of influence there, because you're spreading that kind of knowledge that would have been passed down. Someone missed out on it, and you're being able to get it from this person, which is great. But the kids are involved.
Yeah, but that's different because the kids are involved and they're kind of involved in a secondary aspect, whereas some people, the kids are just as much of the influencer as they are. As in, like, it's directly like basically me and my kid's account, if you know what I mean.
Well, okay, but what about that kid who was making dumb money from opening toys?
Which is wild. Which is wild. But that's the problem. It's like
7, 8 years old making millions, fam.
Because the main question there would just be like, are you willing for your kids to be actors and are you willing for your kids to be famous? Realistically, are you willing for your kids to be famous?
I don't personally mind being famous. I don't think it would bother me too much. I don't think I've got thick ass skin, so people's comments.
You being famous or your kids being famous?
Nah, so that's what I'm saying. With me,
nobody cares about you being famous. I'm asking you, do you want your kids to be famous? No, but
what I'm saying is, I'd like to. No, but I'm saying it comes down to it. So the way I've been raised or whatever, yeah, I've had to have thick skin, yeah, and like sort of being the head of the household throughout the time, whatever, like knowing I can take on responsibilities. I've never really succumbed to other people's opinions. For me, it's always been my own opinion matters. It might be very narcissistic of me, but I couldn't give a fuck about most other people's opinions unless I really care about you. I don't want that life for my kids. I'm not gonna lie. In a fucked up way, I really want to shelter my kids. I really want them to never have to really ask or want for anything.
Weird and stuff. Like those famous kids, man, it's like a roll of the dice, man. It's scary because they don't grow up with a lot of the same
struggles.
The same hurdles that ordinary people do, as in not famous. And because of that, then they just, and some of them are surrounded by basically yes people. And as we see from adults, when they're surrounded by yes men or yes people like that, just like, yeah, man, that's a great idea. No matter what they say, you start to do some Kanye stuff.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And, you know, you start thinking everything you do is like, and for a kid who doesn't know anything different, like reality is just a reality you've set in your mind. Like, oh, no. I don't think I would be okay with my kid being famous.
The question is, though, you may not be okay with it, but imagine that's what the kid wants.
Well, how does the kid know what the kid wants?
But you're telling me as a kid you never knew I wanted to be this, I wanted to be... Yeah, cool, stuff changes, don't get me wrong. But if that's the only life you've lived, and that's what you know and that's what you like,
my thing, right, is if a kid was doing something as in... they wanted to play with electric, right? They wanted to go and put a fork in a socket. You would stop them, right?
I'm like, you know what I would do? This sounds so messed up here, but I feel like what I would do. Yeah.
Bro, this is going on the internet, bro. Do I need to tackle you?
So no, they ain't gonna get that deep. So what I would do is find a socket. Yeah, I'll make it like lights all around it, whatever. So the kid knows, ooh, I want that socket. I want that one. And make sure that I put the resistance behind the socket so high that when the kid touches it with a fork, it gives them the lightest, and they're like, oh no, I don't want to be here no more. And that will deter them from, but they have to go through it.
Oh, yeah, but there you go. Like you said, oh, I want my kids to be sheltered. And then 2 minutes later, I want to electrocute my kids.
No, but it's so for example, with me, right, I used to eat carpet as a kid. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a stupid little kid. I used to eat carpet. I used to hide behind the sofa and munch it. Yeah.
Wait, what? I don't understand. Oh, like you ripped off like the top parts of it?
As in, my mouth will be on munching the carpet. No, yeah, and I'm not talking in a nice sexual way. Yeah. I'm talking about 5 years old.
Okay.
So my mum kept telling me, nah, stop doing it. I'll get hit. I'll get beats. I would still continue munching this carpet, yeah. To the point one day she put chili powder there. I didn't know this. I went to go munch in my favourite spot. Gonna have myself a good meal today.
I'm so glad she did that.
This is probably why hair down there don't bother me no more.
Yeah.
And
no more? It didn't bother you originally at this.
That's true.
Story.
It never bothered me. Yeah. And then so obviously I munch it and I burst out. I'm crying. I'm running my mouth over the walls trying to get this chili powder off me. Yeah, like just everywhere. and I'm begging for water, and she's like, nah, you're not getting it. You do not deserve it. After I've told you better. I learnt my lesson, bro. But I feel like it was a controlled way to learn the lesson, if that makes sense.
100%. Because I agree. I agree with everything. I agree with it all. I used to suck my thumb. My mum put chili pepper on my thumb. I don't suck my thumb no more. It was just the way it went.
And Asian, African, Jamaican chili ain't the same as like white chili.
Oh,
Yo,
100%, man. I don't know what this chili's called, but damn.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, that's what I mean. Like, as in, yeah, I want to shelter my kids from in the sense of, if they want something, they should be able to have it in a controlled way. Whereas for me, I never got stuff that I wanted when I was a kid, and that made me go and do things that maybe I wasn't proud of. To get stuff. I don't want them to be wanting. I want them to assume that love is always there.
Yeah, and I want the same as well. And so if my kid really wanted to be famous, and I felt like, okay, like say they, I don't know, they sung or something, and they started getting kind of famous from singing, but they were young, let's say 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
Then I would just have to be the voice of reason always and forever. I cannot let myself get caught up in the lifestyle of this fame.
In the fame and
I have to be the voice of reason constantly. I have to be the when everyone's saying yes, I have to be the one saying no, not to be a dick, just to be like, nah, that's ridiculous.
And show them another side. Because all the yes men are only ever echo chambering them. And it's like, oh man, I go on these I mean, I ain't done it in a hot minute yet, but I go on these Facebook groups, yeah, and it's towards a certain political party, and they're all there, or certain religion, and they're all there cussing out the other religion, the other political party, and it's like, no, not one of them is bringing, not one of them is bringing perspective that is different, that they can potentially see, hey, I can get why the other side is doing this. It's just continuous attack, and it just builds up an echo chamber of them just attacking.
If someone there was, even if someone there agrees with everything they're saying, but then says, oh, but have you thought about it like this, and comes up with a logical point that doesn't go with the rest of them, they will get slaughtered,
cancelled, instantly cancelled. And the issue with that is that all you are is in a place where your biases are being confirmed, because you went to seek someone that would confirm your biases. So with the kid, they are probably looking like, oh, I'm making money out of this, I'm getting famous, I'm getting happy, I'm seeking validation from this, I need to go to other places or other people that are going to give me that validation. And you have to at one point be like, look, it's not healthy. Like, you are seeking validation in potentially the wrong area. You're going to get this, like, that kid is going to hate you for a hot minute for that. And most likely, like, they're thinking, well, everyone else loves me and supports me, not realizing you're actually loving them more and supporting them more doing it this way. But in their mind, that is what love and support is.
And I was listening to a Mike Tyson podcast. He talked to Evander Holyfield, and the difference between how they grew up was insane. Because Mike Tyson never really had anyone, and then when he did get someone, this is the guy who taught him how to box, right? And then he dies, and during all that height and fame, that's where Mike was like, that's where I developed an ego from boxing. Because before boxing, I didn't see a point in living. I didn't know, like, to be honest, I was kind of done with living. And it's just like, there's nothing I'm here for, and there's nothing I'm meant to be. And then he becomes the boxer, becomes the champion early age 20, and then it's like, oh, Iron Mike Tyson, and he's just knocking people out and everything, and he develops this ego, and it's just out of control.
Truthfully, at that point, if you are Mike, would you also not have an ego? Because I'm not gonna lie, bro. If I know people are paying 60, 70 pounds to watch me knock a guy out in 20 seconds, bro, I'm the greatest man on the planet. But
then that's the difference, because with Evander Holyfield, he had he tells the story of how he got into boxing, and I'm not gonna go through it, but the biggest part of his story was always his mum. And he kind of had this fear for his mum, but he understood how much his mum loved him. So it was a fear, yes, because of course, he would get an arse whooping a few times.
Big boxer like him, but still get an arse whooping.
But it was like a fear where it's like, anytime any of this is happening, it's always out of love, and it's always like She was the one who really like kept him, like he wanted to start boxing. She was worried for him originally. He convinced her into it, and then he was just like, she was like, okay, fine, do it. And then he lost a few times. Like he was winning, and then the first time he lost, he was like, I'm quitting, and she wouldn't let him quit. And then he wanted to quit again, but he knew he can't quit again because of what she said before. And all of
Yeah.
this stuff to a point where when he becomes champion, it's just like, it's just his energy with it, his humbleness was from his mum kind of telling it, but like guiding his way the whole way through without ever
Because
really
she,
letting that ego. Because she kind it's weird because he said she beat the ego out of him. And I know that's a horrible thing to say because, you know, don't beat your kids and la 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 la. But I'm not saying the beating specifically, but just the fact that she was around constantly keeping his check
checks
of
on him.
reality, so to say.
Yeah.
You know?
And I know that, and that's hella important. But I think it takes a special person like him to actually recognize that his mum was there for his benefit rather than his hindrance. And I feel like a lot of people nowadays they seem so self-entitled, and unless things are going their specific way, they can only see their side of it. There's people that have like horrific, or in their assumption is horrific parents, or bad friends or whatever, and they're constantly thinking, no, they're out to stop me, or whatever. I bring something to them and they just shut it down, or blah blah blah. And don't get me wrong, there probably are bad parents who just don't encourage their children at all in any way whatsoever, apart from what they want to do. But the other side to it is, are you not looking at from, maybe these people are saying this for a benefit for you, although you may not see it, and although you think that it is completely against you, it's actually for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it takes a person who is willing to look at perspective to see that his mum was actually there on his side, pushing him up, rather than, because it could have easily been per se Mike Tyson with a mum like that, and him using, people go, I need the haters to motivate me.
Yeah, but he actually did use that. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy about his story, is that he needed that kind of that chip on the shoulder to become who he was.
So you've got here like a real like example of one where love supports you and the other one where hate supports you, and they both hit pinnacles of their career that very few people in the world can ever hit in their own careers, right? So like, is either of the way wrong?
Yes, because I would say the one with hate is wrong because of all the demons that chase you. All of that success or perceived success isn't really success.
Is it? But okay, so success is very subjective, right? If
The
you've managed to
main
per se, go on.
The main reason I say that is because, especially for instance, in Mike Tyson's case, the moment that success can't come the way it like, you just have no foundation after.
Yeah.
It can only last for so long.
So, but okay, that's under the assumption that you can't change what success is after you've hit success, because as humans we naturally do that. We naturally think, right, I want to do my GCSEs and I want to get, I don't know, let's say 5 A's where I want to be able to go into college. Calm. Success for me is being able to hit my GCSEs. Once I've done that, cool, it's college. Success for college is being able to get into uni. Success for uni is me being able to get a 2-1 or a first or whatever it is, right? And on each step of the ladder, success for you will be getting a next promotion. Success for someone else will be starting their business, whatever, blah blah. But at every step, there's no thing of like success done, safe.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that I feel like if you don't work on what's putting a chip on your shoulder, because you're saying, all right, there's success and then there's what motivates you towards success. And if you're motivated by the chip on your shoulder, it's never ever going to be enough. And if you're never able to reach or continue or maintain the pinnacle you're on, that's when you start to fall apart, because now this chip starts to eat you away. And another example, for people who would know, is the difference between what people would say about Kobe and what they would say about Michael Jordan. Because Michael Jordan was fueled by that chip on his shoulder. Kobe was just about greatness. He just wanted greatness. So after he decided to retire, he then puts all of that same energy and finds it easy to put into his family. Not saying he was the perfect human being, but he was more well-rounded on what he felt like was a weakness, he would work on. Whereas Michael Jordan, now that he's retired, every time you see him, it's just like the, he's not. I wouldn't say he's depressed, but he's not the pinnacle of like you were the greatest, and now you're just living the best life after.
I'll give you that because there comes to a point where you can no longer be the greatest in that particular field that you were striving to be, and once you're out of that, you're like, where the fuck do I go? But I mean, he clearly fashioned his greatness into a business sense after the fact, and
because because my point is when you have the chip on the shoulder, it's always going to be a case of, okay, when I get here, then I'll be able to like lose this chip. But then you get there, and it's still there with you, and it's like, okay, when I get here, it'll be gone, and you get there, and it's still there with you, and so on and so forth. Because you're trying to put in the same with relationships, bro. If I was like not happy with myself for whatever reason, but then I'm jumping from relationship to relationship to kind of quiet that noise because now I've got something to focus on. Bro, it's always going to be a repeating pattern of jumping from relationship to relationship. And to be honest, the fact that I never fixed what this problem was may be the fact why I'll never be in a serious relationship. Do you know what I mean?
No, I hear that. But you weren't. Yeah, but in that scenario, when you're jumping between relationships, it's less you looking for peace through the relationships, though.
So many people are looking for peace through success because they're trying to get that validation. Because the chip on their shoulder, oftentimes, and I'm oversimplifying this, is the fact they hate themselves. But if I can prove to everyone that I can do this, then the love of everyone
is 100% where it comes from.
I mean, I should love myself now, right? But it's to a point where they don't even know that that's the battle. It's just this hate that's inside.
And I give you that. I didn't really want to agree with it, but I actually give you that because in the perspective of you've spent your whole life with this chip on your shoulder simply for the fact that someone brought you down at some point, or someone. Or a situation told you you're not worth anything, whatever, and you use that anger to try and go and climb and become great. And to the point where you now become great, and you can maybe look at yourself and go, yeah, I'm the best ever, I've made it, I'm the greatest. Not to quote Mike Tyson, but to quote Mike Tyson, I'm the best ever. But then at that point, you're like, I've never known how to be okay with myself. I've only ever known how to strive beyond what I've been told I'm not good at. But if I'm good at this, how do I be okay with the fact that I'm just good at this? How? And whereas I guess someone in the sense of Evander Holyfield, he never had to worry about is he good at this because he had his rock, he had his mum going, no, you are. And so when he got to the point where he is the best at what he can do and whatnot, he's known what love is. He's known how to be happy with himself because someone else has been happy for him.
Even something as simple as money. So she kind of taught him with money. It's like more throwaway bars. He didn't go into details, but he was saying like his mom taught him that when you have that money, make sure you're saving, because if you're not saving, you're not going to be able to help anyone. Because if you're saving, that means you have enough. And now if anyone needs anything, you've got enough to help people. So it was just something as simple as that of teaching him the love of like saving, not with the intent of I am saving up so one day I can get this. No, I'm saving because I want to be able to help someone if they need help. And that is like a case of I go to this fight, I make $10 million. Instead of blowing it crazy, I've already got in my mindset like, okay, I've got this 10 million. I'm going to use this for these things I've always wanted, and I'm going to make sure I have this amount for anyone I know who needs it. Yeah. Just something like that will keep your ego in check. Just having that kind of mentality, that kind of foundation. But like I was saying before, if I had a child and they wanted to be famous and I want to be there for them and I want to be like the Rock or the no man, so to say, I understand
it's an unfulfilling job, isn't it?
At the same time, it's a relationship. It's between me and my child. It's a relationship. Yeah. And if they decide that, like, no, how comes like the world is saying I'm the greatest, I sell this many albums, and everyone I say this idea to says yes. And when I do the idea, I make like gold, I go platinum, I go freaking titanium. Like, Why am I listening to you? You're not famous. You didn't do this. Like, that's
So
a possibility.
yeah, so now it comes to that situation. What do you do in that scenario? How do you then try and show that kid perspective?
I
When
burn everything down, baby. No, I'm kidding.
you came for my balls, I put you back in them.
If it's a boy, he's got a hard time. No, I'm kidding. No, to be fairly honest, unfortunately, and it's easier for me to say now because I don't have any kids. But unfortunately, sometimes you got to let someone learn a lesson on their own. I'm not saying that immediately when I get pushback, I'm like, hey, I'm out.
It hurts to do that with your own kin now. Or even when it comes to your
100%.
closest
That's what I'm
friends,
saying,
man.
it's the easiest
When you
to-
know they're making a
easy to
mistake
say.
and you sat down and you told them, like, yo, don't make this mistake, whether it is a relationship, whether it is financial, whether it is like their own personality, you know, you're gonna kill yourself doing this, don't do it. And they go and do it. Somebody just gotta let them do it, man.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I might be a dick saying this, but I'm okay with that. I'm like, when it's friends and I've given you advice and I'm very aware my advice is right. Because one thing is I need to check my ego because a lot of the times people come back to me and they say, oh, you were right. And I have to always check my ego to not be like, I told you so. I told you.
Internally, how gassed are you, bro?
Told you, bro. I'm always gassed. That's why I say I've got to check my ego because it's so easy to give advice, you know, because when you're not emotionally connected, it's easy. But
Yeah.
there's so many times I would give advice unless someone is like in dire like situation where they could die. Other than that, no, all right. I told you what I'm going to tell you, but do you, man?
Can you forgive friends who come to you humbly afterwards and go, "Nah, I fucked up. You were right."
Why would you not forgive them? Unless
Yeah, no.
unless it affected me directly, where I've told them, please don't do that because this is going to happen to me, and then they've done that in a regard of like, F what happens to him, then it's a bit different, you know?
Okay, but let's say it did affect you, and they come back with I fucked up. I know it affected you. Could you have those people still in your life?
If it happened before I gave them the advice, cool. If I gave them the advice, I made them aware that there's a possibility it's going to F me up, and then they just did it anyway, then nah, bruh. Nah.
Could you do the same? Could you do the same if it was in a relationship? Would you be able to forgive your missus? Let's say she done something and it messed you up, but she
Oh,
realizes.
serious. Sorry, bro. So she done something and it messed me up.
Yeah, and then, but she came back and she realized and whatever. At that point, are you halas? Are you done with the situation?
Did I tell her beforehand that it's gonna mess
did.
me up?
You did.
Damn, man. It depends on how strong that relationship is, man.
But yes, I mean it's your missus. I'm assuming it's a relatively strong
depends
relationship.
it depends on how strong the relationship is and the emotions are. Because like I said, it's easy when you're when it's just about when you're emotionally detached. It's so easy to say F that person.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's why it's easier for me with friends because it's normally the situation where they're asking for advice, I'm not involved in that situation.
Yeah.
You know, but whereas a girlfriend and they're directly connected, I don't know. How about you, bro? Do you feel like you'll just burn them down?
I guess it depends on what the situation, the scenario is. But I actually like to think that I could look past it, so long as I know that there's genuine remorse in their coming back, in them opening back up and saying, look, you know, I fucked up, whatever. I wouldn't be this person again. I made a mistake. I actually think that might even be more positive because sometimes you need to just get through shit.
It's way more positive than needing to catch them on it.
Yeah,
I don't believe you should forgive someone if you caught them instead of like them telling you.
Yeah, no. Yeah, So I think, and it's funny because I actually think with friends, I probably could cut them out. And not even probably, a lot easier when it comes to. But then this is what I'm saying. So now, if it's a relationship and it's difficult to just cut someone out, and because you're emotionally involved. God, don't you hate emotions sometimes? Don't you hate the fact that just being chemically imbalanced in your brain towards someone gives them more of a leeway than.
Bro, they didn't know how we were gonna do it, but we did it. That's how we made a full circle. This is why men don't feel emotions. We're back at the start, baby. This is why men
Circulatory.
aren't allowed to feel emotions.
Yo.
Because we make stupid decisions.
No, we do. When and this I try my hardest, and it's not always the case. I try so hard to not to react on emotion. Yeah. I try so hard, and maybe it is a man thing because you're told not to have emotion in the first place. But for me, obviously, everyone's human at the end of the day. You do go through a period of feeling down, feeling up, feeling angry, feeling happy, whatever, and you react sometimes based on that thing. And for me, especially when it comes to friends, I'll say whatever. Who cares, right? It is what it is. If you're angry, you just say it. If you're happy, you just say it. Whatever. Like, it doesn't mean as much. When it comes to a relationship, I like taking my time out and really processing how much does this mean? This anger that I've currently got, is it a long-term thing? Is it a short? Nah, it's not that deep, but it's something I feel like I should talk about maybe. Then cool, I'll bring it up at a later space when I feel like there's no emotion involved in the situation. I also know how much that pisses off people who just want to get situations sorted and done with at the same time.
Because they don't want to be feeling the way they're feeling. They want it sorted now, resolved, you know.
On a long term, they you know. And so it's difficult because when you're someone who prefers just sitting on emotion and actually figuring out whether it's worth time or not versus someone who reacts. And I feel like women are good at reacting instinctively. Whether it's correct or not is a different story, but they're good at reacting based on emotion, so they can get it out and settle it. Whereas men are a lot better at just.
Do you think that's a natural thing, or that's just because of the gender roles? Because
I believe that's a gender role
being
situation.
Able to show emotions, we have to our first. I'm sure for you too. My first response is always shut that S down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, internally.
Yeah.
Completely. It's shut it down, wait it out. In about 2 days' time, am I still feeling a type of way? Go through it logically as best as you can. Is it worth it? 10-10-10 rule, bro. In 10 months, it's going to bother me. Yeah, maybe I should speak about it. In 10 weeks, is it going to bother me? Yeah, okay, fine. Then maybe I should. In 10 minutes, it's going to bother me. No, not really. Fine, fuck it. Leave it. It is what it is.
Yeah. This episode of Keeping Up With Nothing was brought to you. Come on, guys. You know we don't have any sponsors. But soon. Anyway, this is a little message just saying thank you to everyone who gives support and feedback for episode number 1. And we hope that you're enjoying episode number 2. Let's get back to the show. Explain the 10-10-10 for people out there.
So for me, the 10-10-10 rule is, whether you're in a relationship, whether it's with friends, whether it's family, whatever, a situation, business, it could be whatever, right? A situation occurs to you, you feel a type of way. Usually negative. Because really, this is funny. We don't really think about positives and how that might affect us. We don't think about how positive emotions might make you do something kind of silly at points, but you're like, okay, but I feel good, so it doesn't make a difference, right?
Yeah.
So you don't. But with anger, you kind of think, or upsetness or sadness, you're like, for me, I feel that wave of emotion. I am a human at the end of the day. I'm not a robot. I try not to feel it, but I know I feel it. So what I'll do is I'll give it some time, maybe a couple of hours or whatever, and I'll just assess. So the 10-10-10 rule is it going to bother me in 10 minutes? If it's going to bother me in 10 minutes, should I say something about it? If it's not going to bother me in 10 minutes and I'll forget it, then it was a fleeting emotion. You let it go, because really nothing comes off it, right? You probably never even remember the situation again in your life. If it is going to bother you in 10 minutes more, you think, is it going to bother me in 10 weeks? So in a couple of months, is it still going to bother me? And if the situation is, no, it won't bother me in 10 weeks, but it will bother me in 10 minutes, maybe you make a note of it and you go, all right, cool. If something like that can occur again or whatever, I might make something of it later on, but really ultimately that is something that isn't too impervious. If you then go, right, it's going to bother me in 10 weeks, you think, will it bother me in 10 months? And if it's not going to bother you in 10 months, you're right, but it's going to bother me in a couple, it'll still play in the back of my mind in a couple of months time. Yeah, then maybe I should sit down with the person that I need to solve this situation with and actually speak about it on a, look, this ain't killing us, this ain't gonna stop the relationship or stop the business, stop the friendship, but this is something that actually, it played with me, can we just talk about it, whatever, yeah? So it's important, but it's not halas important.
Yeah.
And then if it's going to bother me in 10 months' time, then it's right. We need to sit down. We need to actually properly talk about this, because this is something that I feel is super important to me, and to my mental well-being. And I hope you're on the same level, and we can discuss this. But it is about taking that initial emotion out and not reacting on it, and thinking whether it's something worth reacting on, and the best way to react on it.
Yeah, yeah. Because, yeah, you just need to figure out how important something is to you, because some people blow up over everything, you know.
Correct. I mean, look, I'm sure you've been in a situation. I've been in a situation a few times, you know, you're with your missus or whatever. Oh, that's it. I'm done with you, blah. And I'm not going to lie, I used to laugh sometimes. I used to laugh. Yeah, I used to laugh. I'd be like, oh, yeah, you're done? Okay, Lord, I'll see you tomorrow. And it would just resolve the situation, because obviously, like, I get it. Women react instantly, and the thing is, they've been given a safe space to react instantly and just get it out, and then they let it go. Generally, or from what
for me, I don't like being threatened, bro.
No, but see, the thing is, though, it's not a real
really
threat.
Don't like being
so
threatened.
Does that get your back?
I know what you're
if they
saying,
said
but I don't
something?
like being threatened. Whether it's a play kind of threaten, or like a just don't threaten me. I don't like it. I don't like it.
And I guess that's a boundary that you got to set with someone.
Yeah. So for me, like, first time, okay, maybe like you're used to going wild like this and saying those kind of things, and because sometimes some people just say that because they feel like every time they have said it, someone's been like, oh no, baby, no, please, no, baby, no, please, no, don't threaten me, because that's like, nah. Just
See,
nah.
I don't take it as a threat, because I feel like you can understand the intention behind when they've said it. Because, you know, for example, right? It might be a dumb situation. It might be you ate the last chicken wing on the plate, and she wanted it instead.
So with that said, we're done.
But let's say, for example,
chicken,
she'd already had like a shit day. She was on a, like, you know, it was emotional. There's hormones flying about, whatever, and just that little thing just topped it off. It's like, oh my god, blah 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 blah. Yeah, look up.
Bro, you think what? You think I'm just gonna sit here and not call you out on that moment you just had? You were like this close. He was this close to saying period, and then he was like, "Whoa, can't say that."
Bro, why do London get so shook up by period?
Because we're taught it's such a taboo, and it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't. Bro, I want to be that dad that gets pads for his kids, fam. Male or female, whatever gender.
Because I don't know if I'm there yet. I'm just know it shouldn't be a thing. But I know to set the record straight, I can imagine when you were about to say it, you weren't saying that's why she's in the mood. It's just like you were just trying to compile the worst, like, storm.
Reasons. Yeah.
You know, he wasn't saying that when that comes, people are crazy. He was just saying.
That can contribute.
All together, if you add up all of everything.
All the other... I like your save there, bro. I like
Good gosh, man.
Oh, shit. I'm going to get cancelled instantly.
Yeah, cancelled, bro. Cancelled.
But, yeah, like, you know, so, you know, sometimes people say stuff in anger, but it's not really what they mean, because there's a whole bunch of other emotions behind it that they can't really process. Bro, I have to apologize. I'm gonna have to cut this short, man.
All right, man. Yeah, so we're gonna cut that short there. Like we said before, we ain't got the answers.
We ain't got no
we
answers.
ain't got the answers.
We just go around.
Yeah, it's just trying to get some stimulating conversation. We super duper overthink everything, as you can see, and because we overthink one thing might latch onto that, and then we attach to that and get stuck on that, and so on and so forth. That's episode number 2 of Keeping Up with Nothing. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Excellent. Catch you.